Hello friends, I am CA Vivek Nigam and in this video lecture we are going to learn about the concept of valuation under GST. As you know friends that this is a very important and very critical chapter. So I don't think I need to tell you the importance of this chapter or concept. So without wasting any time, I want to begin. Okay friends. So it is valuation under GST. Broadly, you must know that in the valuation chapter, the most important section, the most important section is section 15. Okay, so our main discussion will be around the section 15 in this video lecture. So friends, let us start. As you know, friends, that GST is charged or levied on ad valorem basis. Do you know the what is ad valorem? Ad valorem means percentage basis. It means GST is charged on percentage basis, but GST is obviously charged on percentage basis. But first of all, you must know that of which percent we have to calculate, because the percent in itself is nothing unless you apply this percent to any amount. So, where is that amount? I think you are able to understand that we have to calculate or we have to determine an amount, and on that amount and on that amount some percentage will be applied, and that will be called as GST. Suppose there is an amount of 1000 rupees, okay, or there is an amount of 100 rupees, say, and you apply 18% GST on it. Then you will say, okay, 100 into 18 divided by 100 is equal to 18. 18 is the amount of GST. Okay. So first you have to calculate an amount on which the percentage of GST rate is to be applied. So the problem arises, what is the amount on which we have to calculate GST, or what is the amount on which this percentage of GST is to be applied. Okay, so I think you are able to get me. So now we have to calculate this amount. Okay, so I am going to start from the section 15 that gives a value, and the percentage of GST is applied on that value. After applying the percentage on that value, the amount arrived is called GST. Okay, so we have to calculate a value on which the percentage of GST rate is to be applied. So how this value will be calculated will be determined by the rules of valuation. So let me proceed, friends. So here on the screen you can see that GST is paid on ad valorem basis. Okay, GST is paid on ad valorem basis, that is based on percentage of its, that is basis is based on percentage of value. Okay, so we have to calculate a value on which GST will be paid. Okay, so when we want to determine the value, there are majorly there are two ways. Majorly there are two ways. Either the transaction value will be the value on which the percentage of GST will be applied. Okay, second thing, If somehow transaction value cannot be calculated from the first root, there is a second root. There is a second root. If we follow that route, then we have to follow some rules. Okay, so first way is the calculation of transaction value by normal way, and second way is the way on which we have to apply some rules. So in this video lecture, we are going to talk about the normal route. Okay, so let us begin. So we are not going to talk about rules in this video lecture. Okay. So now, determination of tax, GST. There are two ways. Broadly, there are two ways of calculation of GST. First, we have to calculate, we have to arrive at a transaction value on which we have to apply a GST rate. Okay, simply transaction value multiplied by GST rate will be the amount of GST. Or there is a second way. Second way is used when the value is inclusive of GST. Okay, when the value you have calculated is inclusive of GST, means GST is already included in this value. Okay, in that case, the value inclusive of all taxes is multiplied by the tax rate divided by the 100 plus tax rate. Okay, it is the normal calculation. I think that you might have done such type of calculations in your second or third standard. Okay, so broadly there are two ways of calculation of GST. If there is no GST is already included in the transaction value, then apply simply transaction value into GST rate. Otherwise, if the value arrived is inclusive of GST, then to determine the GST component, you have to apply this formula: value inclusive of all taxes into tax rate upon 100 plus GST rate. Okay, now transaction value. What is the transaction value we were talking about here? So we have to calculate this transaction value. So now the main focus of our discussion is that how this transaction value will be calculated. So there are some inclusions and there are some exclusions, means you have to add some amount and you have not to add some amounts in the basic value. I will also define the basic value, what is the basic value, but broadly you should understand there are certain inclusions and there are certain exclusions. Okay, in a basic value, when you include these things in the basic value and when you check that these things, I will tell what will be included or what will be excluded, but broadly you have to understand that some things or some items are included in the transaction value and some items are not included in the transaction value. And after that processing inclusion or exclusion, we arrive at a amount. We calculate an amount and that is called or that is taken as transaction value on which the GST rate is to be applied and finally GST is calculated. Okay. So inclusions. What is the? I was talking about the basic value. Let me clear what is the basic value. Basic value means basic price or basic contract price on which you you make an agreement or you are ready to buy or you are ready to sell. There is a basic value. Always there is a basic value. Okay. So I will clear all these things in with the help of examples too. Okay. So understand what things are included, what items are included in this basic value. Okay, so please include all the taxes except GST. Okay, second, I will also going to elaborate it in a little comprehensive way. But here I am giving a summary to you of inclusions and exclusions. So just for a summary, we have to include taxes except GST. Okay, you need not to include GST on a basic value. Second thing, seller's expense paid by buyer means when the buyer pays an expense which is the obligation of seller. Third is incidental expenses charged from buyer before the delivery. Okay, incidental expenses charged from buyer before the delivery when seller charges such amount. Okay, I will also clarify all these things in next few minutes. Okay, next is interest, penalty, etc. for late payment charged. Okay, subsidies other than central government and state government subsidy. Now we come to exclusions, discounts, pre and post discount. Okay, so now value of a taxable supply. Okay, to be transaction value. First basic principle you have to keep in mind that value value on which GST percentage is to be applied will be the transaction value. Okay, value value on which GST rate is to be applied will be transaction value. ठीक है? Okay. Now, which is which is price actually paid actually paid or price payable means value of a taxable supply value of a taxable supply is to be transaction value which is price actually paid or price payable for the said supply of goods or services or both. Okay, where supplier and the recipient are not related and the price is the sole consideration for the supply. Okay, so what it want to say? It says you are studying the valuation chapter and the provision is saying that to calculate the amount of GST you have to determine a value on which GST rate is to be applied, and that value will be a transaction value. Okay, and what will be the transaction value? The transaction value will be the price which has been paid or either payable. It means if either you have paid the amount, either your customer has paid the amount to you if you are a supplier, or you have to receive the amount from the customer because the transaction was done on due basis. So it may be the price paid, it may be the price payable in respect of supply of goods or services. But the most important things where the supplier and recipient are not related means the seller and buyer must not be a related person. Okay, the seller and buyer must not be a related person. You will say, why can't they be related person? Okay, they may also be a related person, but if they are related person, we will not follow this route. Okay, we will follow the route of valuation which is governed by some rules. So in this route where transaction value is being taken as the value of taxable supply, in this route the buyer and seller should not be and must not be a related person. Okay, second thing, the price is the sole consideration for supply. What is the meaning of sole consideration? Let me clarify that the sole consideration means the seller has charged nothing other than the price taken from the buyer. Okay, nothing other than the price taken from the buyer. Suppose I am selling a goods. Suppose this is my mobile. Okay, suppose I sell normally mobile, and the price of this normal price of this mobile is 20,000. Okay, so I am selling this mobile, and I am taking from my customer. I am taking my from my customer rupees 19,000. Okay, and this pen drive, suppose. Okay, and the cost of this pen drive is suppose 2,000. Okay, so I am selling this mobile to my customer, and I am taking two things. First is the 19,000 in cash, and I am taking something in kind. So in this case, in this particular case, we can't say that the price is sole consideration, because I am also charging, because I am also charging something other than the hard cash. Means I was charging something. I was taking something extra. So in this case, it can't be said that I have sold this mobile, and for this mobile, the 19,000 was the sole consideration. So the meaning of sole consideration, that the seller have charged nothing other than the price which he has to receive, or he has received from the buyer. So the main concept of the transaction value here is that you have to take two parameters. Okay, first, the buyer and seller must not be related, and second thing, the price must be sole consideration. If any of these two conditions are not being fulfilled, then you have to follow the path of rules. You can't come here. Okay, so I am taking in my example, or in the way where I am going, that in these cases, price is the sole consideration, and the buyer and sellers and the buyers and sellers are not related party or not related persons. Okay, so let us proceed further. Now, I was talking in a summary manner here. In the summary manner, inclusions and exclusions. Now, I am going to talk about these inclusions and exclusions in detail. Okay, because we have to calculate the value of taxable supply. So obviously, in the basic value, which is the transaction value, I have to calculate, I have to add some items in this transaction value, and I have to ensure that some items are not included in this transaction value, because I want to calculate the value of taxable supply, and value of taxable supply can be inclusive of GST, and value of taxable supply can also be exclusive of GST. Okay, exclusive of GST or inclusive of GST. It means there may be a case where there is no GST is already included in the value of taxable supply, and in the second case there may be cases where all the GST is already included in the value. Okay, so whatever will be the case, we will be able to comprehend or understand by seeing the example, or from the information given we will be able to understand those things. Okay, so let me proceed further. Inclusions and exclusions in the value of supply. So in the basic transaction value, we have to include if not included, we have to include if not included. What I want to say, if the thing or the items we are going to include are already included in the transaction value, then what is the need of including that again? There is no need. So we will include those things if they are not included in the transaction value. If they are already included, we will not include them again. But if they are not included, we will include them. Okay. So let us move. Include first tax, duties, sales, fees, charges, and we have to exclude what? We have to exclude GST and GST compensations under GST law. Obviously, you must be knowing, or you are already understanding, friends, that we are going to calculate a value on which GST is to be applied. So obviously, we have to calculate a value on which, or wherein the GST is not included. Obviously, no. So we have to calculate a value on which, in which all the taxes, duties, cess, etc. are already included in that value. But GST is not included because GST, we are going to calculate such value for the determination of GST only. How can we include the GST in it? Are you able to understand? So GST will not be included in the transaction value, and we will include all taxes, duties, cess, fees, charges. Okay. So next thing is TCS is also not includable in the taxable value. There is a special circular number 76 oblique 50 oblique 2018, wherein it is specifically said that the TCS will not be includable in the taxable value. So I am going to give you some examples that suppose there is the local body, okay, and it is charging entertainment tax. So such type of entertainment tax will be included in the transaction value wherever is applicable. Second, I am giving you example of municipal tax. Okay, so suppose you are a landlord and charging something from your tenant, and you are also paying some municipal taxes. Okay, so these municipal taxes will be included, and after that inclusion, the amount of GST will be calculated. Third example I am going to give you, as in the case of tobacco. In the case of tobacco, as you know, that central excise duty is still levied on the tobacco. So when you are going to calculate the GST, you will include in your transaction value the amount of GST which has been paid on that tobacco. Okay. So let us move ahead. Yes, examples. Here I have already given such examples. So now, section 15, subsection 2, clause B. Okay. Supplier's obligation met by the recipient. Okay. There may be a case, friends, that there may be a case, or there may be many cases when the supplier's obligation is met by the recipient. Okay. Suppose you may take an example. Suppose you are a buyer. Friends, suppose you are a buyer. Okay. You are a buyer and I am the seller. Okay. And I sold, suppose, this mobile. I sold this mobile to you for rupees 20,000. Okay. So I said, suppose your name is the Ram. So I said to you, Ram, you want to purchase this mobile. So I will charge only rupees 20,000 from you. But please do one thing. What? I have purchased this black cover. I have purchased this black cover which is on the mobile from that very shop. I have purchased the cover of this mobile from that very shop, and he charged me rupees 1,000 for this cover. So I went to that shop one day and brought that cover, but Mr. Ram I have still not paid the amount of 1000 which is due on me. Okay, so Mr. Ram, if you want to purchase this mobile from me, then do two things. Two things. Okay, so first thing is you give me 20,000. You give me 20,000. Second thing, you have to give you have to give rupees 1000 to that supplier which is actually my obligation, because I have to pay it. But Mr. Ram, since you want to purchase this mobile, so you need to do two things. First, give me 20,000, and second, pay pay 1000 to that person from which I have purchased this mobile cover. Okay, so in that case, you means Mr. Ram is paying the obligation of seller. So this provision is saying the same thing. The supplier's obligation met by the recipient. Amount incurred by the recipient on behalf of supplier to meet his obligation. To meet his obligation means the obligation of supplier. Okay, friends. So let us move further. In relation to such supply, obviously it must be in relation to such supply. If it is not in relation to such supply, then obviously price will not be sole consideration, and this situation will be covered under rules. So the supplier's obligation is buyer met by the buyer must be in relation to that very supply from which or with which the buyer is concerned. Okay, if the buyer is not concerned with that supply, suppose I said I am going to sell you this mobile. Okay, but do one thing that I have taken a good lunch in Hotel Taj. I have taken a good lunch in Hotel Taj, and I have to pay the bill of rupees 10,000 to to Hotel Taj. And dear buyer, please pay that bill. Okay, and give me 20,000 rupees. So even if you pay my bill of Hotel Taj, but this bill is not in relation to this supply. So in that case, such situation will be governed by the rule, and I will discuss it later. But at present, you can understand that this situation is not covered here. So here the amount, if you want to go, you want to attract, or you want to catch a situation where section 15(2) clause B is attracted, in that case the amount which the recipient has paid must be in relation to the supplies with which the recipient is concerned. So now I am going to give some examples to you. Suppose here is Mr. A and here is Mr. B. Okay. So Mr. B sold goods to Mr. A. Mr. B sold goods to Mr. A, and Mr. A paid the amount to Mr. B of rupees 1 lakh. Okay. And Mr. A also paid 2000 rupees to the transporter. Transporter, actually, Mr. B sent the goods to Mr. A via a transporter. Okay, so Mr. A paid the transportation charge to the transporter, because obviously his goods was coming, so he was in hurry to keep that goods in his godown or home or whatever may be the case. So Mr. A paid two things. Mr. A paid two amounts. First, rupees 1 lakh and rupees 2000. So the transaction value will be the rupees 1 lakh plus 2000. It means the charges that Mr. A has paid, which is rupees 2000, will also be included in the basic transaction value, and the transaction value for the purpose of GST will be rupees 1 lakh 2000. Okay. Now let us come to the second example, which is the similar case. Mr. A bought goods from Mr. B. Okay. Mr. A paid rupees 1 lakh to Mr. B, and Mr. A also paid rupees 2000. Okay. There was the same case. Mr. A paid rupees 1 lakh to Mr. B, and Mr. A paid rupees 2000 to a commission agent. Okay. So Mr. A is paying Mr. A is paying rupees 2000 on the seller's request to the commission agent, and we are understanding and taking it as that rupees 2000 is being paid in relation to this very supply. So the transaction value will be rupees 1 lakh plus 2000 means rupees 1 lakh 2000. Now third example. Okay. Mr. A. Here Mr. A is a buyer, Mr. B is a seller. Mr. A paid rupees 1 lakh to Mr. B, and I think I have covered this example. Yes. Mr. A, Mr. B. Mr. A paid rupees 1 lakh to Mr. B, and Mr. A also paid to a commission agent on his own account. On his own account means by his own sweet will. It was not the request of Mr. B. Okay. So Mr. A paid to commission agent rupees 2000 on his own account, which has no relation with this very supply. Means the supply of goods from Mr. B to Mr. A was not concerned by the payment of this commission. Okay. This was not in relation to that supply. So in that case, in this 2000 will not be included in the transaction value. Okay. So you need to understand that what things are included in the transaction value and what things are excluded in the transaction value. Now let us move further. Now clause C subsection 2 of section 15, incidental expense. Okay, incidental expense means little petty expenses which are related to the given supply. Inclusions in transaction value. Now incidental expenses and the amount charged for the activities done before the delivery to buyer. Here the main important thing is before the delivery to buyer. Before the delivery to the buyer, the expenses, incidental expenses and amount charged for the activities. And who charges this amount? Obviously seller charges this amount. Like seller is charging for packing from the customer, seller is charging commission from the customer, seller is charging inspection charges, other charges, installation charges, testing charges, outward freight charges, testing expenses, etc., etc., etc. So if seller is charging any amount from the seller, so it will be included in the transaction value. But keep in mind all the expenses, only all those expenses will be taken which are concerned or which are related to the on or before the delivery of goods. You can here take the example. Here the goods were delivered on 5th January 2020. Okay. So the expenses of packing, commission, inspection, these type of expenses up to the date of delivery, which the seller has charged from the buyer will be included in the transaction value. But if seller any charges any expenses after the delivery of goods from the buyer, then that expense will not be included in the transaction value for the purpose of GST. Okay, so you can see here from the right side or left side, what before the delivery it will be included, after delivery these expense will not be included. Okay friends, so now we come to clause D subsection 2 of section 15, delayed payment charges. Okay, so you must know, first of all, you must know what is the delayed payment charges, and later after that we will discuss about it. So sometimes what happens that seller says that, suppose I am selling this mobile to you, and I said you are Mr. Ram, and I said Mr. Ram, please pay me within 3 days. Suppose it is the hypothetical situation. Nobody pays in 3 days. Suppose I am saying, Mr. Ram, please pay me within 3 days. If you don't pay in 3 days, if you don't pay in 3 days, I will take rupees 100. I will take rupees 100 as a penal interest from you. Okay, okay. I will take some extra amount from you as a penalty. Okay, so such amount which are which are of the penal nature. It means I am imposing, seller is imposing a penalty on you due to the due to the habit, due to the reason that you are paying late. So he want to rectify, he want to correct your habit. So he is imposing some penal charges on you. So such type of things, such type of expense or such type of events means items will be included, okay, in the transaction value. Here, charges for delayed payment of consideration like interest on late payment of penal nature. GST will be leviable only on interest which is penal in nature. Although time of supply of the receipt of payment is will be the receipt, the date when that payment is is being received, or when that payment is being received. I want to give you an example. Suppose I gave I gave this mobile to you for rupees 1 lakh, but since you paid me after a certain date, so I am charging you rupees 1,10,000. It means I am imposing rupees 10,000 as a penal interest on you. Okay, so I am charging you rupees 1,000, 10,000 as a penal interest. So first of all, I gave this mobile to you and said, please pay within 10 days. After that, I will charge rupees 10,000 extra. So at present, I will make an invoice of rupees 1 lakh only, because I don't know whether you will pay me on time or not. But if you don't pay me within 10 days, I will further write I will further write a debit note. Okay, I will further write a debit note, and this on this debit note also the GST will be leviable. So but I want to clarify one thing, that on the basic amount, on rupees 1 lakh, the time of supply will be calculated as per normal provisions. Means normally the date of issue of invoice or date of payment, whatever will be calculated as applying the provisions of time of supply will be calculated. But for the when we will calculate the time of supply for the interest part, then the time of supply date for that interest component will be the date when the payment will be received. So in this case, although time of supply of the payment of interest will be the date when seller receives such payment of interest, but you must keep in mind that GST will be leviable on this interest component. Okay, so let us move further. And one, I want to clarify one more thing. If this is a normal interest, means if there is an interest, there is the amount of interest which is not of panel nature. Suppose you may take the case of EMI. Okay, you know the in every EMI there are two components. First component is of principal part, and second component is of the interest. So in that interest component, no GST will be leviable, because that component of interest which is included in the EMI is not of the nature which can be said as a panel nature. So panel interest will be subject to GST, but normal interest, on the normal interest there will be no GST. Okay, so I think I have to move further. Penalty for delay in payment. Penalty for delay in payment. Okay, so on the same footing, the GST will be levied on the penalty for delay in payment. Okay, and time of supply of this penalty will be when the seller receives this penalty. Obviously the seller will issue debit note to get these penalties. To seller will issue debit note to get this penalty from the buyer. Okay, now example, I want to give some examples. GST rate is 12%. Suppose there are two companies. First is A Private Limited and second is B Private Limited. Okay, B Private Limited sold goods excluding GST to A Limited. B Private Limited sold goods excluding GST rupees 50,000 on 1st January 2020. Okay, B is the seller, A Private Limited is the buyer. Now, at on the 1st January 2020, A Private Limited makes nil payment. Okay, on 1st January, buyer pays nothing. Now, after when some period is passed and buyer even then when buyer don't pay anything, B Private Limited, which is a seller, he raises or issues a debit note of rupees 2000 and he adds rupees 240 as IGST on it. Okay, so now you can see here that where the 50,000 excluding GST was already payable by the A Private Limited. Now, further, B Private Limited raised a debit note of rupees 2000 plus 240. Okay, so now B Private Limited has to receive total 56,240, because on 50,000 there was an interest of rupees 6,000, because we have to apply 12% on 50,000. Okay, now 240 more, so 6,240, 6,240 and 52. Now this 50,000 plus 2,000 and we have to apply 12% GST on 52,000. Okay, so it comes 56,240. So now after issuing the debit note, B Limited has to receive 56,240. Okay, now A Private Limited now makes payments on 1st February 2020 of rupees 56,240. So GST payable at the rate of 12% on the 1st January 2020 is rupees 6,000. Okay, on the hand of B Private Limited, the liability to pay GST is rupees 60,000 on 1st January 2020, and after issuing the debit note, it has a further liability to pay rupees 240 more. Whereas if we see the example of A Private Limited, so now after receiving the debit note, its ITC becomes 6,240, which was only 6,000 before the debit note was issued. Okay, so ITC can be taken if the conditions of section 16 subsection 2 are fulfilled. In this example, I just wanted to tell you the mechanism how the debit note, credit note, ITC and GST liability is incurred in the hands of buyers and sellers. Okay, so in the forthcoming example, this concept will help us to understand better. Okay, now we are coming to clause number E of subsection 2 of section 15, subsidy. It talks about the subsidy. Broadly, friends, in this chapter we can see there are three types of subsidy from the point of view of valuation chapter. First type is the subsidy given by a private institution, private NGO. Okay. Second, the subsidy when the subsidy is given by the central government. And third type is when the subsidy is being given by the state government. Means state government subsidy, central government subsidy, and other than central and state government subsidy. There are three major categories of subsidies, and there are different treatment of these subsidies. So let us move further. So you can see here subsidies. Subsidies must be directly linked to the price. Obviously, the subsidies must be directly linked to the price. Means due to the subsidy, there must be some benefit to the buyer. Okay, but subsidies should be passed through the hands of seller too. You will understand with the help of example. Now we have to include the subsidies which are being given by the private institution, but we have to exclude the subsidies provided by the central government or state government. So means you have to consider only two things. If it is provided by central government and state government, then you need not to include such subsidies. Okay, if already included, then please exclude it from the transaction value. But in case of private subsidies, these are included in the transaction value. If already included, then you need not to include it again. Okay, so let me give some examples. Some subsidies paid to supplier are taken, not to consumer. Obviously, subsidies which are paid to supplier are taken for the purpose of valuation, not subsidies given to the consumer. You will understand now better. Okay, so here is an example. Here is a seller, and this seller want to charge a price of rupees 5,000, and he want to sell some goods. Now here is the poor man, or you can say here is the buyer. Okay, ignore the 4,300 now, but just understand here is the seller and here is the buyer. Now here is an NGO, here is an NGO. NGO do what? NGO gives subsidies of rupees 500 to the seller. Subsidy of 500 to the seller. Now NGO is giving 500 rupees subsidy from the seller, and seller wanted rupees 5,000. Okay, so in this 5,000 he received 500 from the NGO. Now what he will do? He will charge only 4,500 from the buyer. Okay, from this poor man, the seller will charge only 4,500 because he has already received the NGO the subsidy of rupees 500. So the provision of this section 15 subsection 2 clause E says that please include this subsidy in your transaction value. Means it want to say that please include in your 4,500 rupees this 500 too, and arrive at an amount of rupees 5,000. So I want to say the subsidies received from a person other than CG or SG, central government or state government, will be included in the normal basic transaction value. And here, as you can see on the screen, that GST will be levied on 5,000, and we are assuming that this 5,000 is inclusive of GST. So to arrive at the amount of GST, we have to do the reverse calculation. Means you have to do the 5,000 into 12 divided by 112. That comes to 535.71 rupees. It means the subsidy, such type of subsidy will be included in the basic transaction value. Okay, so invoice will be made of rupees 5,000 only, which is inclusive of GST, and after that, that amount of GST will be deducted to arrive at a value, exclusive of GST. Okay, now this NGO is also giving, suppose, the subsidy directly to the poor man. So NGO is giving subsidy to the poor man. This subsidy of rupees 200 will not be included in the transaction value. It means the in rupees 4,500 only 500 will be included, because the subsidy of the rupees 500 is being passed on to the seller directly. The subsidy which is not being passed on to the seller will not be included in the transaction value or for the purpose of valuation. However, due to this subsidy of rupees 200, this subsidy of rupees 200 will reduce the cost in the hand of that poor person or the person, because he will pay 4,500 to the seller, but he will receive rupees 200 from the NGO. So the cost in the hand of this poor man will be only 4,300. Okay, now let us second example. Seller want to receive a price of rupees 5,000, and now here is NGO not. Here the subsidy is being given by central government or state government. Here, since the subsidy is being given by the central government or state government, obviously seller has already received rupees 500 from the central government or state government. So now only 4,500 will be taken by the seller from this poor man. But you have to note that this subsidy will not be added in the transaction value. So the GST will be calculated on 4,500, and this, if this GST is inclusive of, if this transaction value is inclusive of GST, then GST will be arrived as 4,500 into 12 divided by 112. Okay, and we have to make the invoice of rupees 4,500. Although if central government is giving subsidy of 200 directly to the poor man, the cost in the hand of poor man will be 4,300. Okay, friends. Now, section 15, subsection 3, inclusion in transaction value. So we are going to talk about the discounts. Okay, friends. First thing you have to keep in mind that discounts which are given before the supply of goods are accounted, and these are excluded. Okay, so pre-supply discounts are always excluded from the transaction value, if not already excluded. But if the discount is being given after the supply of goods, then you have to follow some condition or rules, or you have to keep in mind certain condition. If these conditions are fulfilled, only that post supply discount will be allowed. Okay, so post supply discount is excluded from the transaction value if the discount is as per agreement. It means there must be already an agreement that if this condition will be fulfilled, then that much amount will be given as a discount after the supply of goods. Okay, so first thing is there must be an agreement. Second thing, the discount must be specifically linked to the relevant invoices. It means it must be pre-decided that post-supply discount will be given on which invoice, which is really very difficult in my own understanding, that it is not so easy task. So even there may be an agreement, but it is not easy to link the invoice with the post supply discount. But since it is written in theory, so I have to tell you in the same manner. Second thing is, it must be linked to the relevant invoices. Third, ITC, as is attributable to the discount, has been reversed by the recipient of supply. So there are three conditions: agreement, second the linking, third is reversal. First thing, there must be an agreement between the seller and buyer regarding the discount. Second thing, that it must be specifically linked that this much amount of discount will be given after supply regarding that very invoice. Okay. Third thing, when you will give discount after supply, obviously you will give. If you are a supplier, you will issue. If you are a supplier, you will issue some credit note. Okay. So after receiving the credit note, your buyer will reverse the ITC. After receiving the credit note, your buyer will reverse the ITC corresponding to that credit note. And after that, he will give the proof that he has reversed the ITC. And after that confirmation, you will pay the GST. Okay, friends. So you will recalculate your GST liability, because if he has reversed his ITC, your liability to pay GST must also be reduced corresponding to that credit note. So unless and until I give you a proper example, I don't think you will be able to comprehend it very correctly. So I want to give you some example. Okay. So be focused. So here is Mr. A of Delhi. Okay. And this is Mr. B of Delhi. Now, goods invoice value rupees, price excluding GST is rupees 1 lakh and 2000. Mr. A is of Delhi and Mr. B is of Delhi. It means it is an intra-state sale. Okay. Mr. B gave goods to Mr. A. Okay, friends. Mr. B gave goods to Mr. A. So Mr. B is a seller and Mr. A is a buyer. Okay. Now, Mr. A is going to pay some amount to Mr. B. Mr. A is going to pay some amount to Mr. B because Mr. A is a buyer. Okay. So he paid rupees 1 lakh. Okay. So he paid rupees 1 lakh, and 2000 is the pre-supply discount. Okay. 2000 is a pre-supply discount. So transaction value will be only 1000. Okay. You can see the manner in which the invoice will be raised. The normal value, pre-discount value, will be 1 lakh 2000 less discount 2000, net it comes to 1 lakh. And on this 1 lakh the GST will be levied, because this 1 lakh 2000 was the amount excluding GST. Now come to the next example. Suppose there is agreement exists and it is also linked with the invoice, and ITC is also reversed. It is an important example in my opinion, so please be focused. Okay. So here is Mr. A, and you can see on the screen this is Mr. B. Okay. One is Mr. A and second is Mr. B. Now Mr. A gave goods to Mr. B. So A is the seller, B is the buyer. Okay. B is the buyer. B will pay the price. So Mr. B is going to pay the price. So here you can see The what was the price? Price after all discount was rupees 1 lakh. Okay, GST was 18,000, total amount was 1 lakh 18,000, and it happened on 1st January 2020. Okay, now the payment was done, and the ITC, since Mr. A is a seller, okay, Mr. B is a buyer, so Mr. B will take ITC and Mr. A will pay GST of rupees 18,000. Okay, Mr. B will take ITC provided the condition of section 16 subsection 2 is are fulfilled. So now see, now payment of rupees 1 lakh 18,000 is done on 10th February 2020. Mr. B paid rupees 1 lakh on 10th February 2020, and invoice was raised on 1st January. You can see here. Now Mr. A, now here is the point of discount. Okay, so initially all it happened. Now it is a second case. Second case in the forthcoming case, when we are going to talk about the discount, Mr. A issued a credit note of rupees 2360. Okay, suppose Mr. there was certain condition. Suppose there was a certain condition which Mr. B, means Mr. Buyer, have to fulfill, and Mr. B fulfilled that conditions, due to which he got entitled to receive some post supply discount which was offered by Mr. A. So here Mr. A is issuing a credit note because he want to give post supply discount to Mr. B, and so he issued a credit note of rupees 2,360 rupees, wherein rupees 2,000 are normal and rupees 360 is the IGST component on it. IGST means you can understand it as an interstate transaction. Okay, so now Mr. A issued a credit note. What happens after receiving this credit note? Mr. B do what? Mr. B, now Mr. B have to pay less. So since he has already booked ITC of rupees 18,000, but he need to reverse some ITC and he need to reverse rupees 360. Okay, so on 13th February, Mr. A reduces. On 13th, suppose before this thing, on suppose on 12th February, Mr. B reverses the ITC of rupees 360 and gives Mr. B gives the proof that okay, I have reversed the ITC. Okay, after that Mr. A reduces his GST payable by rupees 360. So you can see the net burden in the hand of Mr. A comes. IGST was initially paid, or which was payable was 18,000, and he will reduce his GST liability in that very month or in the forthcoming month. Obviously he will reduce his liability in the forthcoming month. Initially he may have paid rupees 18,000, and in the coming month, when he got the confirmation from Mr. B that he has reversed the ITC, he will reduce his GST payable by 360. So the net liability regarding that invoice will be only 17,640. Okay, now ITC was already taken rupees 18,000 by Mr. B. Now when he has reversed the ITC, the net ITC he has availed regarding that invoice on which he has received the discount, the net ITC received by Mr. B will be rupees 17,614. So I think the case is very clear. First, the normal transaction happened. After that, Mr. A issued a credit note. Due to receipt of that credit note, Mr. B reversed his ITC, and after that Mr. B gave the information that I have reversed that ITC. Now on receiving the information that Mr. B has already reversed the ITC, after receiving this information, Mr. A reduced his GST payable liability. Okay, okay friends, so I think the example is clear now. moving to the next example. Suppose agreement does not exist. Okay, agreement does not exist and it is not linked. ITC is not reversed. What will happen? Okay, here is Mr. A, here is Mr. B. A is supplying goods. A is seller, B is buyer. A is selling, giving goods, B is making payment. ठीक है? Okay. Payment of rupees 1,18,000 was done by Mr. B on 10th February 2020. Okay, but the initial transaction was happened on 1st January 2020. So first invoice was raised in such a manner that price after all discount was rupees 1 lakh. Okay, price after all discount was rupees 1 lakh and GST was rupees 18,000 and ITC of rupees 18,000 received by Mr. B. We are assuming the conditions of section 16 subsection 2 has already been complied by Mr. B. It means he has received the goods, received the invoice, and he has filed the return, whatever the conditions section 16 subsection 2 imposes. So he has already received, Mr. B has already received the ITC of rupees 18,000. Now what comes? Due to certain reason, Mr. A is giving a post supply discount to Mr. B. But you must keep in mind that here agreement does not exist. So what will happen? Here agreement does not exist. So what will happen? If agreement does not exist, there will be no case of GST, means GST will not come into the picture of this credit note. So if Mr. A want to give a post supply discount where agreement does not exist or payment cannot be linked with a specific invoice, then Mr. A will issue a commercial credit note. Mr. A will issue a commercial credit note. Okay, it is the commercial credit note, means a note where no GST is coming into the picture. Okay, so Mr. A issued a commercial credit note of rupees 2,000 because Mr. A want to give a discount of rupees 2,000. Now what will Mr. B do? Will Mr. B reverse any ITC? No. Mr. B need not to reverse any ITC. So Mr. B will not reduce any ITC. So since he will not reverse any ITC, Mr. A can also not reduce his GST liability. Okay, friends. So it comes here is the case where no agreement exists. So if there is no agreement, there will be no picture of GST, no case of reversal, the ITC regarding the credit note, and there will be no reduction in the liability of the seller. So IGST payable is 18,000 normally, and reduction will be nothing, and net payable is rupees 18,000. Similarly, in the hands of Mr. B, ITC will be 18,000, will remain as it is. Okay. The consideration in the hands of seller will be rupees 1 lakh, 1 lakh 18,000. 1 lakh 18,000 means minus 2,000 because he has given the discount of rupees 2,000, and cost in the hands of Mr. B will be 1 lakh 18,000 minus 2,000 because he has received a credit note like a discount of rupees 2,000. So cost in his hand also comes as 1 lakh and 16,000. Okay. So now the example is clear, I think. Now let us take a simple example after considering all the points. So suppose there is a contracted price inclusive of GST is 1 lakh. We are moving forward to a next example. Okay. So please refresh your mind. So what is here? You can see on the screen. Contract price. Contract price is rupees 11 lakh. Contract price includes primary packing cost. Primary packing cost is rupees 20,000 and cost of special protective packing at customer request is rupees 20,000. You should keep in mind that contract price includes. Here it is written that contract price includes, means contract cost of primary packing and cost of special protective packing, etc. are already included in the contract price of rupees 11 lakh. Okay, let us move further. Design and engineering charges rupees 80,000 also included here. Now, other information. Commission paid to agent on the instruction of supplier is rupees 15,000 and freight and insurance charges paid by the recipient on behalf of supplier is 65,000. Okay, so first of all, I want to clarify you that not as per normal provision, we add the primary packing, cost of protective packing, and design and engineering charges. Okay, but these are already included, so I don't think there is a need to include it again. Now the here comes the payment of commission, okay, and payment of rate and insurance charge, which are being paid by the recipient on behalf of suppliers. So these are also included, but in the question here is no information that this 15,000 and 65,000 or already included in the contract price of rupees 11 lakh. So we have to include only 15,000 and 65,000 because the amount of 20,000 as a primary packing and the amount of 20,000 as the cost of special protective packing and the amount of 80,000 which belongs to design and engineering charges or already included in the contract price. Okay, so the come tax value will be, here you can see in the green slide, 11 lakh plus nil plus nil plus nil. Why? Because it has already been included as per the information of question. Now we will add rupees 15,000 and 65,000, and here comes the 11 lakh 80,000. And since the value is inclusive of GST, so the GST component will be 11 lakh 80,000 into 18 divided by 118. So the GST will be 1 lakh 80,000. So value of taxable supply will be the 11 lakh 80,000, which is the taxable value, and we will reduce the GST component from the taxable value. So the value of taxable supply will be rupees 10 lakh. So, but if you are a student, you need not to give such type of presentation as I have given in this green strip. You need to calculate it properly as I have shown here. Yes. Computation of value, contracted value 11 lakh, and cost of primary packing nil, cost of protective packing nil, design and engineering charges nil, commission paid to agent 15 and now 65,000. Come tax value comes to 11 lakh 80,000, and value of taxable supply, come tax value less GST, here comes 10 lakh. Okay, so you have to give proper explanation for your working notes too. So you can take a screenshot of these things, as you know I have already these provisions in detail, so you can give such type of explanation. Okay friends, so the the basic the core area of our discussion is over. So I want to give a brief summary, or I want to make a little summary or a quick summary to you for for this purpose. So let us revise. So GST, I will I will take a maximum 4 to 5 minutes now. Okay. So what we have learned in this chapter, I am going to revise it in 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. First, GST is paid on ad valorem basis. Okay. GST is a percentage which is charged on a basic way, on a value. Value are can be calculated either by transaction value or by rules. So I have not covered the how the value is determined by the rules. I am talking about the how the transaction value is determined in this video. Okay, so determination of tax is here. You can see the transaction value. It is a simple way transaction value. It is the the way which is used when the value is come tax value. Okay, now let us move further. Here transaction values summary. What things are included? Inclusion are taxes, sellers expense paid by the buyer, incidental expenses charged from the buyer before the delivery, interest payable, interest penalty, etc. for late payment charge, and subsidies other than the subsidy by the central government and state government. Now, and exclusions are discount whether pre and post. Okay, now value of taxable supply to be the transaction value which is paid or payable where the buyer and seller are not related, where the buyer and sellers are not related, and the price is sole consideration. Now let us move further. Now 15(2)(a), it includes what? Taxes, it tax, duties, cess, fees, charges, and we exclude what? The GST earning, because we have to calculate GST, and TCS is also not includable. Okay, circular number 76/50/2018. Now, but I gave some example that what type of tax can be included, like entertainment tax, municipal tax, and central excise duty. Now let us come to the next point, that section 15(2) subsection B, subsection 2 clause B, what says that any amount incurred by the recipient on behalf of the supplier to meet his obligation will be included. Okay, in relation to such supply will be included. Now I gave some example. I don't think I need to revise those examples again. Now the cost of packing commission, packing inspection charges, installation and testing charges, outward freight, these expenses will also be included. But if they are, but only the point of time is these charges are included before the date of delivery. These expenses are allowed included, and after the delivery such expenses are not included. Now section 15 subsection 2 clause D, delayed payment of charges. So interest which is penal in nature, penal interest, if interest is penal, so GST is leviable on that penal interest also. Okay friends, now I have given some examples. Now 15(2)(e) subsidy you have to keep in mind, if the subsidy is a private, is given by private party, it will be considered, but if it is given by central government or state government, it shall not be taken into account. So I have given the examples of subsidy. Now exclusion, discount, if discount is a pre-supply discount, if it is a pre-supply discount, it will be taken into account, it means it will be excluded. But if it is a post-supply discount, then see, there must be agreement, there must be a linking of invoice and the discount, and the ITC must have been reversed by the person to whom we are going to give the discount. And now after that I have given some examples to you for your better understanding, and after that the everything is covered. So friends, this was the whole concept, this was the basic concept of valuation, and in the second video we will cover the how the valuation is covered under the rules, because it is, I have not completed here the whole topic. Okay friends, so we shall, there is a lot which is still to be covered. So in the next video I will cover some remaining issue of the valuation chapter, and one more thing, I will also cover the examples given in the study material of the ICI, and I will also cover the examples which I have also collected by from the various sources. So be prepared for the next class, and thanks for your thanks to you for listening me with a calm mind, and thank you very much. And I also want to give also want to do a small request that please subscribe my channel, because I keep posting many interesting and important videos on GST and various other topics, which shall be available to you only when you are subscribed to my channel, because as when you subscribe the channel, then you are able to get the instant notification. So obviously don't forget to press the bell icon. And if you like the my video, please do press the like on it. Thank you. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram. सीखते रहो. Keep learning always.